Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study of the Minor Prophets today by beginning the study of the book of Nahum. Nahum is not a book that we know very well, and there's probably a good reason for that. It really has one theme, one topic, one subject, and that is the destruction of the city of Nineveh. The book of Nahum is the prophecy that Jonah wanted to deliver. Jonah was sent to save the city of Nineveh before evidently the northern kingdom fell to Assyria, which happened in 721 BC. So Nahum is writing a good deal later, maybe even 100 years or so later. He's certainly writing after the sack of the city of Thebes by the Assyrians, which happened in 661 BC, but before the destruction of the city of Nineveh, which it predicts, which happened in 612 BC. So sometime between 661 BC and 612 BC, Nahum is writing his prophecy. Nahum is from the city of Elkosh. He tells us in verse 1. We're not sure whether that means he's from the northern kingdom or the southern kingdom. Probably he's from the southern kingdom if he's writing after the sack of Thebes. But he could have been one of those people left behind. That is a possibility. Left behind after the captivity of the northern kingdom. There is a site in the Galilee region that could be Elkosh, and there is also a site in the region of Judah that could be the location of Elkosh. The city of Nineveh is one of the oldest cities in the world. Its planting is mentioned in Genesis chapter 10. It's one of the settlements that was established by Nimrod not long after the Ark experience. And it's one of the oldest cities on earth, and the remains of Nineveh are almost directly across the Tigris River from the current-day city of Mosul. Anyway, the Assyrian Empire was probably the most brutal of the empires that we've experienced on earth, and most historians think of it as the first true empire. It controlled the Mesopotamia, all the land between the Tigris and Euphrates River, between the Persian Gulf and the Mediterranean Sea, and went into Turkey, went into Egypt, had military conquest, and considered itself as ruling all of the important parts of the world. And as we've mentioned before in our studies of the minor prophets, they were more violent, more brutal than any other foreign country that we talk about, and really more than any other that we meet in human history, just in terms of the sheer brutality with which they treated conquered peoples. And God has already spared the city of Nineveh through the prophet Jonah. We talked about that when we studied Jonah, but about 100 years after Jonah was there or so, the city of Nineveh is going to be destroyed. And as I said, in 612 BC, and then in 608 BC, the entire Assyrian Empire will topple to the Babylonians, supported by the Medes and the Scythians, but primarily to the Babylonians. And that's what this book is about. It is a book that's really in two parts. Chapter 1 is a theodicy. God is right in bringing about absolute and irrevocable judgment upon Assyria and upon the city of Nineveh. And then in chapters 2 and 3, that destruction is being described. And there really is a great deal of dancing on the grave of an enemy in this book. One suspects that a bit of schadenfreude is being enjoyed by Nahum as he gets to tell the story that so many other prophets would have liked to tell, which is judgment upon this most wicked of peoples who have been the enemy not only of the northern kingdom, but nearly destroyed the southern kingdom as well. Their armies got to the very gates of Jerusalem before an angel of God destroyed that army. And that's what this book is about. It's in verse form except for one verse. Chapter 2, verse 13 is in prose, and that's the one verse where God speaks directly to the Ninevites. So it's a unique book among all the Old Testament books. There's no grace in this book. You're done. You are finished. I'm going to utterly destroy this people, and they're not coming back. There's no remnant here. There's no future promise of anything. You are going to be destroyed. There's a recurring motif of lions in this book because the lion was the national symbol of Assyria. We forget how large the habitat of lions used to be in ancient times. There were lions all over Europe. There were lions in Spain, lions in France, lions in Asia. They used to have a very large habitat, and they were the national symbol of the nation of Assyria, the same way the bald eagle is the symbol of the United States. So if he was writing this about us, he would be talking about eagles instead of lions, but he's talking about lions here. In fact, God himself mentions lions in chapter 2, verse 13. So we're going to take a look at the 3 chapters of this book over the course of our next 3 sessions. But this is our introduction to the book of Nahum, which really is about judgment and only judgment, judgment deserved. Before we end, I just want to read 2 verses that really sum up the verse. One is the very last verse, and this is God's message to the Assyrians, and particularly those who live in Nineveh. It's one of its capital cities and its oldest city. There is no relief for your breakdown. Your wound is incurable. All who hear about you will clap their hands over you. For on whom has not your evil passed continually? I'm going to utterly destroy you, and everyone is going to be happy about it because you've been awful to everyone. But the message to all of us is in chapter 1, verse 9. Whatever you devise against Yahweh, he will make a complete end of it. Distress will not rise up twice. If you oppose God openly, God will destroy your plans, and you won't get the second chance to do it again. God will take care of it. So anyway, we're going to take some time over the next 3 sessions to look at the 3 chapters of the book of Nahum. And if you like that sort of thing, you'll enjoy the text. But it is certainly a warning to all of us. Well, thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.